Hi David, thanks for taking the time to talk to Top Horse.
Thank you, Paul, for coming along to the auction.
No worries. Now, you started your breeding program at the Isle of Wight Farm in 1978. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Well, I started in those days from thoroughbred mares. There was only one warm blood in the country, a warm blood stallion, and his name was Flaneur. And I started breeding from a Flaneur stallion called Wongalee High Design. Moved on to another Flaneur stallion, both of which were half thoroughbred. They were bred here in the country. And then I line bred the two Flaneur stallions into my thoroughbred program and started the warm blood breeding.
So you really got things started here?
Well, yeah, when you go back and see the bottom line in the pedigrees of the horses, which runs off the page and most people don't see it, there's a lot of thought gone into what I bred. Well, we've managed, from those early days to produce 3 Grand Prix horses in show jumping, some very good horses in eventing and dressage as well. And from that, they've just moved on and evolved, into young horses that are now the new generations of outcrossers that are coming on the scene again.
Now, what truly motivates you as a breeder?
Oh, the passion. I knew from the time I was 3, this is what I wanted to do. So I'm probably fortunate or unfortunate, whichever way you look at it, that horses have been my life and always will be.
Now, when you're choosing your stallions for your breeding program, what are the main qualities you were looking for?
Well, obviously you've got to have temperament and you've also got to have type, but they've always had to have a good conformation of uphill. And I'll forgive some little incorrectnesses in horses, but they've got to move the right way. They've got to get from point A to point B, maximum efficiency, minimum effort.
And what are the star qualities that you'd be looking for in one of your youngsters?
It's not always definable, but it hits you. And I think that's where, as a breeder, you've got to have a good feeling of gut sense, a gut feeling that this is going to work. And sometimes it defies a bit of logic. The conformation may not be perfect in its correctness, but everything else gels together and you just get a feel for this horse, and it's what makes black caviar. They say she's not perfect in the front legs, but look at her gallop, so what's it matter?
Must be satisfying then to notice something in a young horse that it's hard to put into words, and then it goes on to become something.
Well, that's the thrill and the passion and the challenge, and it's hard always when you're selling yearlings and 2-year-olds that go through growth stages that other people don't see what you know. But in the end, it all comes through, and that's why in breeding, I think you can talk to any of the top breeders in Australia and they'll say it takes a long time to really get there, 20, 30 years before you really get out there. Well, my experience was gained from trying to learn from the best people, not always being paid for it at the time in my early years, and I think it was the best learning that I ever had. And I think if anyone wants to start out today, they've got to have the passion, they've got to have persistence to go through it, and they've got to have the vision to say, well, where do I want to be in a few years' time? And also learn from the best people they can learn from.
In relation to Europe, how does our breeding program compare?
I think now we've come a long way, and one of the things that I'm realising more and more is the beautiful thoroughbred lines that we have still available in Australia to outcross with the warm bloods. We've got a lot of imported stock now in Australia, males and females, mares, beautiful mares, and we're producing the modern sort of horse that is needed for the sport. And I think when our training gets up to scratch, that the horse flesh that we definitely have here, and the training has come up to scratch a lot in the last 10, 15 years, so is the breeding genetics, and I think that's what's going to really develop for us.
And are there any changes or directions you'd like to see that would benefit the industry?
Well, I think there's got to be a coordination through our main bodies like the Equestrian Federation to encompass the owners, the breeders, and the riders, and I think that needs to be done in such a way, a bit like the British system, that encompasses the whole group of people. I don't think owners get enough benefit from having horses in riders' hands yet. I don't think they get enough recognition, and I think that the sport needs to grow as an industry sport as a whole, and everybody involved. There's some wonderful officials that put their life and time into the passion of helping to run sport. We've all done it at some stage, and it needs to be acknowledged.
Well, great. Thanks for all that, David, and thank you very much for talking to Top Horse.
All right, no worries. Thank you very much as well. Thank you to Top Horse.